So, what if the biggest thing slowing your team down isn't the work itself, but all the waiting between the work? It's a huge question. Today, we're going to dive deep into this idea of flow. And don't worry, we've got a practical, step-by-step playbook to help you and your team really master it. You know, this quote from Gene Kim just hits the nail on the head. It perfectly frames the challenge that, let's be honest, we're all facing: speed and predictability. It's one thing to be fast, but it's a whole other level to be predictably fast. And the key, as we're about to see, is this relentless focus on creating a smooth, even flow of work.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the problem, why work gets stuck in the first place. Then, we'll define exactly what flow is and how it's the solution. After that, we'll get into the main event, a 5-step playbook you can use to coach flow. And finally, we'll talk about the mindset needed to make it all last. So let's start with part 1, the problem. Look, every team, every organization wants to deliver value to their customers continuously. But there's always this one thing that gets in the way, this constant drag on everything we do: interrupted flow.
And I want you to really think about this for a second. Delays, handoffs, rework, these aren't just minor frustrations. They're not just part of the job. They are, without a doubt, the #1 barrier to delivering value. And the first step to getting better is to stop seeing them as random annoyances and start treating them like what they are: a huge, systemic problem that we can actually solve.
Okay, so if interruptions and delays are the problem, what's the solution? Well, that solution has a name: flow. And really understanding what this means is the absolute key to unlocking efficient and, you guessed it, predictable delivery.
So what is flow? Well, here's the textbook definition. It's a smooth transition of work through the entire system, with as few handoffs, delays, and rework as possible. Basically, it's that perfect state where an idea can move from a concept all the way to a happy customer without getting stuck in traffic along the way.
Now here's something interesting. Whether you know it or not, your system of work is already governed by these 8 properties. Think of them like the levers and dials on your team's delivery engine. To improve your flow, to make that engine run smoother and faster, you first have to understand what each of these levers actually does.
Knowing what the levers are is one thing, but knowing how to pull them, that's something else entirely. And that's exactly where this playbook comes in. It's a 5-step guide to help you coach flow right inside your own organization.
So the playbook is pretty straightforward. First, we map the value stream so we can actually see the work. Then, we set up a Kanban system to manage it. From there, we measure our flow, we find ways to accelerate it, and finally, we work on growing the right mindset to make sure all these positive changes actually stick. Let's break each one down.
Step 1, it all starts with a very simple truth. You can't improve a process that you can't see. Value stream mapping is all about getting everyone in a room to visualize the work from the very beginning to the very end. And the main goal here is to find all those hidden delays.
And let me tell you, when you do this, the results can be, well, pretty shocking. In the example from our source material, after they mapped everything out, the team discovered their flow efficiency was just 5%. Just let that sink in for a moment. Only 5% of the total time was spent on actual value-added work.
So you have to ask the question, right? Where on earth did the other 95% of the time go? And the answer, almost every single time, is wait time. The work was just sitting there, sitting in a queue, waiting for a handoff, waiting for a review, just waiting. That, right there, is the true enemy of flow.
So, once you've seen all that waste, what do you do about it? Well, that brings us to step 2. You establish a Kanban system. This is the tool we use to make the entire workflow visible to everybody. And, just as important, it's how we make the rules of the road, how work actually moves through our system, explicit and clear.
And this is so important. A Kanban system is way more than just a board with sticky notes. The board shows you the workflow, the steps, the bottlenecks. But the policies are what define the rules. Things like your definition of done or how you handle emergencies. You absolutely need both to make it work.
Okay, so your system is visible, your rules are clear, now you can finally start to measure your flow. Because let's face it, you can't improve what you don't measure. Metrics are what allow you to stop guessing and start using real, hard data to find your biggest opportunities for improvement.
Now, lucky for us, the Scaled Agile framework gives us a great set of 6 key metrics to do just this. Don't worry about memorizing them all right now. The important thing to know is that they're designed to give you a complete 360-degree view of your system's health, measuring everything from speed and efficiency to, maybe most importantly, predictability.
So, once you can see your system and you can measure it, you are ready for step 4. And this is the fun part: accelerate flow. This is where you get to be proactive. It's all about systematically debugging your process to clear out the roadblocks and speed up how quickly you deliver value.
So how do we do that? We do it with these 8 flow accelerators. And here's the really cool part. Notice how they map directly back to those 8 properties of flow we talked about earlier? For every part of your delivery engine, there's a specific lever you can pull to make it run better. Things like limiting work in process or working in smaller batches.
But here's the thing. Using these accelerators isn't a one-and-done fix. To make this improvement last, to make it continuous, you need the final and most important piece of the puzzle, a flow mindset. Because all the tools and processes in the world are useless if they're not supported by a real shift in culture.
Let's be really clear about this. A playbook by itself is not enough. For these changes to actually be sustainable, for your organization to become a place where value truly flows, you need a whole new way of thinking about work, from the ground up.
So, how do you build and anchor this new mindset? Well, you train everyone in these concepts. You make the flow of work radically transparent. You empower the teams to own their own improvements. And you use your metrics as evidence to guide change, not as a weapon to blame people.
And that really brings us to our final thought for today. This isn't just theory. This is about taking action. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Looking at how you work right now, what is one legacy policy, one old rule, one "this is just how we've always done it" thing that you could challenge tomorrow to start improving your flow? Because that's how it begins.